So as a wedding photographer, I've noticed some things about the wedding photography industry. Wow, really? One of the things that I've noticed is that in the wedding photography industry, sometimes we can get a little bit stuck in our own space, kind of in an echo chamber. And this happens in all industries, not just wedding photography. I love how it has created such an incredible community in the wedding photography industry, one where we learn from each other. We're inspired to push the bounds of our creativity. And a lot of times we form relationships and connections in the industry that we would never have had. However, I think it can be easy to end up projecting some of our own personal experiences and ideas of what the wedding industry is and what it looks like for all couples onto the actual couples who come to us, our actual clients who are seeking wedding photography from us. Now, obviously, there's so many different couples in the world, and all of them are going to have different goals when it comes to their wedding photography. Some people might desire something a little bit more trendy. Other people might want something a little bit more timeless and classic. A lot of times now with social media, couples could even be following wedding photographers for a few years before they are actually engaged or looking for a wedding photographer. They might follow a lot of different wedding photographers and kind of see the same things that they're sharing and think, oh, well, I guess I need this and I think I need this, and it seems like this is something I should avoid. And while this can be an incredible tool for helping to refine and educate and inform both wedding photographers and the couples who are seeking wedding photography themselves on what they might want to look for or what they might want to avoid, I think that could also sometimes cause couples to feel like they need to follow a specific checklist for their wedding photography. They need to make sure they have all these things, make sure they're doing all these things, make sure they get all these images, and make sure that it's, Instagram worthy or whatever. And as a wedding photographer, that is not what I want for my couples. And as a wedding photographer who truly desires the couples that come to me and book with me to be able to remain present, excited, confident, and just at peace throughout and joyful throughout their wedding day, this is the last thing that I want. Of course, it's not wrong as wedding photographers to offer advice, expertise, encouragement toward a certain direction because you are so experienced and you've gotten, a read on so many different couples over the years. However, it can be so easy to then just slip into blanket suggestions for couples instead of truly giving them, an intentional and tailored photography experience so that on their wedding day, which is this big day celebrating, this sacred covenant and this commitment, and we can string it into so many other things that we think we need to do and we must do. And because of that, sometimes it can almost feel like instead of planning a wedding day, you're planning a photo shoot. And that is not what we were planning. Photo shoots can be saved for another day, but your wedding day is about your marriage. Now, I want to emphasize this fact. I do not think that prioritizing quality and beautiful photography on your wedding day is wrong at all. In fact, I encourage it. However, I think that it should not be at the cost of your presence and your peace throughout the wedding day. I think it's an incredible idea to set aside dedicated time to making sure that you have beautiful portraits of yourselves on this really exciting day and all of the people who came together and mean something so important to you and who you love, and just make sure that you have beautiful photos of you guys together, as well as dedicating time to these legacy images, the quintessential wedding day photographs that you might think of and are often the ones that are treasured for generations. I think that's a wonderful priority. However, I believe that you as a couple should not feel any pressure to feel like your wedding day has to fit a certain specific timeline, a certain specific checklist, if that's not what is ultimately ideal for you and all of the people who are coming together to celebrate with you on this day. As a wedding photographer, it is not my job to make sure that I am getting all of my goals and checklist accomplished, but instead that I am ensuring that you have beautiful images of one of the most exciting days of your life that you can look back on and just treasure for generations. Wedding photography is such a wonderful enhancement to preserving one of the most memorable days of your life, but it is just that, an enhancement, not the other way around. I believe that wedding photography has become something that causes sometimes more stress to a wedding day than it does what it is ultimately intended to do, and that is to beautifully document the start of your lives together as one, with artistry and intention, and with photos that you can look back on for generations with joy, with laughter, with tears, and nostalgic remembrance. The last thing that I want for you as a couple on your wedding day is to feel that you are stressed or concerned about making sure you got all of the photos that you needed. And that is why I believe it is so critical to hire a photographer who you trust, who you believe will be able to be there to capture the priceless moments that you want captured, but also will not put unnecessary pressure on you to make sure that you are going down a checklist and making sure that you have these specific photos because you must have these specific photos. Ultimately, the photographer is the one there to flex and adapt to the rhythms of your day and to the rhythms of your priorities and to the rhythms of all of the celebration that is occurring on this exciting and beautiful day. My highest priority as a wedding photographer is to serve you by being able to flow seamlessly between leading where needed and then also stepping back into the background to document a moment as it unfolds naturally. And ultimately, my mission is to provide you with a gallery full of timeless, beautiful, legacy, and unique images to your wedding day, balanced by a wealth of images that highlight the unique people, memories, moments, and things that make your lives together the one-of-a-kind story that it is. I'll cheers to that.